Hello, and welcome to You Could Make This, a series where I make an art journal page that, you guessed it, you could also make. I keep the supplies simple and the steps short and sweet, and this week our theme is silence. So for each theme that I talk about, I like to think about how the theme applies to art and to our lives, and then also to our relationship with God. And so for the more practical part today, our art is going to be made in silence. No music, no podcasts, no FaceTiming with a friend, and this should take you about 15 minutes. And it was really great when I sat down to do this, to have that moment of peace and quiet as I created. But as I think about silence in our own lives, silence requires a little bit of bravery. I have gotten in the habit of filling the silence so that there's always something to listen to, or something that I'm watching, or that I'm working towards, a goal. I'm busy, I'm out, or I'm listening to music, or I'm being entertained. Art is like a healthy alternative to that, where it gives us a moment to sit down and have our brains focus on something else, but it also is a way that on the other side of the art, we are doing better than we were before. And it makes sense that silence in our lives requires some effort right now, because our nervous systems have been working really hard the last 2 years. They have been trying to keep us safe from every perceived threat, and there have been many. Whatever it is that you have felt is a danger to you or your family, or the things that you love, your nervous system has been trying to keep you on high alert, to keep you safe. But what that means is that silence can let that unsafe feeling enter. And so I hope that today you, with your silence, with your art, can establish that this is a safe place. An art journal is amazing because it's a way to practice things that we want to bring into our real life. And so this is a very safe, easy way to practice silence in our lives. And then finally, silence with God. I use my art journal to connect with God. And so anytime you hear me giving you a prompt about that, know that I'm right there with you. I am desperate to connect with God. And the art journal can give you a new way to connect with God, and that is also safe. And so you are going to have a chance today to talk to God, but it's not graded. No one's going to see it, and you're not even going to see it again. So this is your chance to just be honest with God. And so as you get the prompt about what you're going to write about, you may find that you are writing something like, "Hey God, are you real?" Or you may be writing, "Hey God, I've known you my whole life, but I need a new way to do this with you." So all connections with God are welcome here. If this is something that is brand new to you, I'm so glad you're here. And if you're someone who is an expert and you've been doing this your whole life, I'm glad that you're here too. All right, let's get started on our very first You Could Make This journal page. Let me show you our supplies for today. The first thing that you need is paper, and I'll be using an art journal. You need 3 colors of paint, preferably paint that you like how they look when they get all mixed together, a paintbrush, and a pen. That's it. That's all you need. And the idea is that you use what you have. Now, the setup is part of today's art journal page. I want you to make sure that you know that you have about 15 minutes that you can be by yourself and that you can have some silence. And the first step of our art journal page is to grab a piece of paper and a pen and to spend some time journaling. The beauty of art is that you can say things that you often can't say with words, but I also find it very cathartic to include my own words and thoughts in my art journal pages. And so your prompt today, as you sit down and fill this piece of paper, is just this question. If you knew God was listening, what would you want to say? And I did this exercise once off camera and once on camera, and it was amazing to find out what it was that my heart was wanting to say to God. I hope that this experience is the same for you, that you are able to get out some of the things that you've been holding in. And I also think you'll find that the silence is very conducive to an environment where you will be able to figure out some of the things that you need to get out. All right, once you fill your paper with your journaling, let's pull out our paint and our paintbrush. And I am going to tell you that this page is so fun and so satisfying. You are probably going to want to do this multiple times. All you're going to do is take your paint and put it in blobs all over the page. And you want to make sure that there's a lot of paint on this page when you're done, because that's what makes the next step so much fun. So I'm going to do that with my blue, I'm going to do it with my white, and I'm going to do it with my green. All right, now that you have got your page covered in these awesome blobs of paint, it is time to pull out your paintbrush. And this is the way that you are going to kind of seal this prayer that you have written down. And just take your paintbrush and use it to push that paint all over the page. And I had so much fun doing it in this wavy pattern, but you can do it in whatever pattern feels good to you, because no matter what you do, it's gonna look really cool at the end when all of your paint has mixed together. The other great thing that I loved about this is that it doesn't matter what pen you've used to journal, because even if that pen gets smudged by the paint, it's a really cool effect. And it also was amazing to look at the words that I had poured out kind of smear themselves across the page and spread out and take on a life of their own. And when I'm done, you can still see some of the sections where my writing is coming through, but the writing is hidden underneath with only a little bit peeking through. I hope that you enjoyed this very first in the series of You Could Make This. I hope that you pull out your supplies and you actually do it. Please let me know if you did this. How was the experience? How did it go art journaling? And stay tuned for the next You Could Make This.